Hello students, welcome back. Welcome back to this amazing platform of Turito. So I hope you are enjoying lectures over here. So as you know, today advanced result came and the topper got 351 marks, 355 marks, sorry. No, I think it is 351 only out of 396. So you can understand that the cutoff this year has dropped because the paper was on the tougher side, especially the physics segment was very difficult. So all of you who are aspiring to take up JEE Advanced next year, so be prepared for such kind of paper. Chemistry was relatively on the easier side, and all those students who have scored very well in chemistry, they have got very good ranks. So chemistry hold the key for the top ranks for a good position in JEE Advanced paper. So make sure that you are doing chemistry section very well. Make sure that you are going through all the topics, and all the lectures that we are covering on the platform will definitely help you to take you to close to the almost full marks in chemistry. So believe me, chemistry is very easy. Only thing needed is a strong dedication and effort to complete the entire syllabus and to keep on practicing it each and every time. Okay, so in today's lecture we are going to start with alcohols. So this is the next unit, this is the next chapter that we need to discuss now. So today we are going to talk about preparation of alcohols. Most of the preparation reactions of alcohol we have already covered in the previous chapters, or you might have covered in the 11th class. So quickly we will go through those reactions, quickly we will conclude them, and I hope you will be able to remember all those reactions. In case you are not confident with any of the reaction that we are going to learn today, please refer your 11th class notes, or please refer to a good book where you can get the detail of all those reactions. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get started. So today the first alcohol that we will prepare is methanol. Methanol is also known as carbinol. So methanol is also commonly called as carbinol. Now methanol can be prepared when we react CO with hydrogen gas. We know that the mixture of CO and hydrogen gas is called as water gas. So when you react CO with hydrogen at a temperature of 300 to 400 degrees Celsius, and you maintain a very high pressure of 200 to 300 atm in presence of catalysts like zinc oxide and chromium trioxide, we form methanol. So there is no mechanism required for this reaction, you just need to know this reaction. This is how methanol is industrially prepared. Similarly, if we talk about ethanol, ethanol is generally prepared through fermentation. So we ferment glucose in presence of yeast enzyme. So when you carry out fermentation of glucose in presence of yeast enzyme, you get ethanol and CO2. The second preparation is you can take any alkene, ethene in this case, heat it with water at high temperature and a high pressure. The temperature is not that high, okay, but it is okay. We will call it as a high temperature only. So ethene on reaction with water in high temperature and high pressure condition, water will just add to this particular molecule and we will form ethanol. The next preparation is that of isopropanol, or also known as 2-propanol. So in this case we will take propylene and we will add water to it. We will maintain the high temperature and pressure condition along with a catalyst. So water gets added on this molecule, H will get added over here, OH will get added over here, and we will get 2-propanol, which is also known as isopropanol. So these are the few basic industrial level preparation of few of the alcohols. So now let's start with the synthesis of alcohol. So we will always cover all the synthesis based on the chapters that we have done. The first chapter that you study in organic chemistry is alkane. So the first preparation would be from alkane. So if you want to prepare an alcohol from alkane, we will carry out a oxidation. So when you take a 3-degree carbon, you can see that this is basically a 3-degree carbon. This is basically 2-methyl propane. So this carbon is 3 degree. When you treat it with a strong oxidizing agent like KMnO4, KMnO4 causes the oxidation and it gets inserted between this CH bond. So we are going to get a tertiary butanol. Now these reactions are not that important. You will never find such questions in your paper, but these are very elementary reactions that you should know. Similarly, when we carry out a combustion of methane, a controlled combustion or incomplete combustion of methane, we always get a methanol. So these two are the ways of preparing an alcohol through a alkane. The next comes is a very important portion, that is hydration of alkene. So the first chapter that you had done in your 11th class, in organic chemistry was alkanes. Obviously GOC and isomerism are the fundamental chapters. So the first hardcore chapter was alkane. After that you studied alkene. So now we are going to study the preparation from alkene. So if we carry out the hydration of alkene, if we add water to an alkene, we will always form a alcohol. Now we have to carry out a addition reaction. We have to carry out the hydration, addition of water on an alkene, or we will say that we have to carry out a hydration reaction. Now there are many ways of carrying out a hydration reaction on an alkene. I hope you can remember this. You can either carry out a acid catalyzed hydration. So in an acid catalyzed hydration, we take dilute H2SO4. So to any alkene we will add dilute H2SO4. Dilute H2SO4 will first provide us H plus ion. H plus will go and protonate the alkene in such a manner that the most stable carbocation is formed, and then water will attack at that carbocation, forming the alcohol. So this is known as a acid catalyzed hydration. So in this reaction we always get Markov-Nikov product as the major product, and we say that in these reactions carbocation intermediates are formed. The second reaction is oxymercuration demercuration. This is basically Markov-Nikov addition without any rearrangement. So this is Markov-Nikov addition without rearrangement. Now the main demerit of hydration reaction in presence of acid is because it forms a carbocation, so there is always a scope of carbocation rearrangement. But when you carry out oxymercuration demercuration, the product is purely a Markov-Nikov product and there is no migration or there is no rearrangement in the molecule. So the reagent that we take for a oxymercuration demercuration is mercuric acetate along with water, and in the second step we take NaBH4. If we want to carry out anti-Markov-Nikov addition of water, we generally carry out hydroboronation oxidation. So we treat the alkene with B2H6 in presence of THF, and in the second step we carry out the oxidation using H2O2 and OH negative, and we get a anti-Markov-Nikov product. So hydroboronation oxidation is basically anti-Markov-Nikov addition of water. Similarly, we can carry out a halohydration where we will add a halogen and water and we will form a halohydrin as the product. So I hope you remember these reactions. So quickly I am going to cover the mechanism of these reactions. So this is the most important part of organic chemistry, that whatever you have done in the previous chapter you should be thorough with it, because all those reactions will definitely be used in the upcoming lectures. So the first reaction that we did is acid catalyzed hydration. So I will take a simple molecule and I will carry out acid catalyzed hydration, oxymercuration demercuration and hydroboronation oxidation. So let me take 2-methyl butene. So this is basically 2-methyl butanene. So in an acid catalyzed hydration we add dilute H2SO4 to the alkene. Now when we add dilute H2SO4, H plus will come out from this acid. Now H plus will go and attack at the alkene. We generally say that addition reaction follows Markov-Nikov rule. Markov-Nikov rule says that the positive part of the reagent will go to that carbon of alkene which has more number of hydrogen atom. So in this case the pi electron gets polarized like this and H plus will go and add on that carbon which contains more number of hydrogen. So in this case we are going to form this carbocation intermediate. Now because a carbocation intermediate are formed in this reaction, so there is always a scope of rearrangement. Now you can see that this carbocation is having only 4 alpha hydrogen, 3 are over here, 1 is over here. Now if we do 1,2 hydride shift, so if we carry out a 1,2 hydride shift, so if we shift a hydrogen from this carbon to this particular carbon, so carbocation will come on a 3-degree carbon which has more number of alpha hydrogen, so it would be better stabilized through hyperconjugation. So we will get 8 alpha hydrogen in this case, right, because we are using dilute H2SO4, So obviously there will be a high amount of water present in it. So this water will go and attack at the carbocation. So oxygen lone pair will go and attack at the carbocation and it will form a oxonium ion. So in this case, a oxonium ion is formed. Okay, I hope you remember that oxygen with a positive charge and having hydrogen or alkyl groups attached to it are known as oxonium cation. Now we know that positive charge on electronegative atom is unstable. So hydrogen will come out in the form of H plus. So H plus is regenerated back. That is why it is known as a acid catalyzed reaction and not a acid promoted reaction. Okay, so we are going to form this alcohol. Now if this alcohol is optically active, then two kinds of product can be formed, either a R form or a S form of the optically active compound. Now in this case it is optically inactive, so there is only one compound possible, because carbocations are generally planar, so nucleophile can attack from the front as well as back side. Now in these reactions we generally say that Markovnikov rule is followed. So addition reaction generally follows Markovnikov rule, which says that the positive part of the reagent adds to that carbon which leads to formation of stable carbocation, or in general we say that positive part of the reagent will go to that carbon of alkene which has more number of hydrogen. So we will say that this is following Markovnikov rule, and carbocation intermediate is formed, due to which there is always a scope of rearrangement and ring expansion. Now we are not going to take much example because already we have done so many example in this particular segment. So I hope you will be able to solve whenever a molecule has been given to you. Okay, the second reaction was oxymercuration demercuration. So second reaction is oxymercuration demercuration. So the reagent that we take for oxymercuration demercuration is mercuric acetate along with water. So we will take the same alkene. So we are going to take the same alkene. So this is basically 2-methyl butene, and we will add mercuric acetate along with water in the first step. This will cause oxymercuration. So oxygen and mercury will be added through this step, and in the second step we are going to carry out reduction NaBH4 and OH negative. So this will basically cause demercuration, mercury will be removed and we are going to form an alcohol, but in this case there is no rearrangement. So we only get a Markovnikov product without any rearrangement. So we will say that in these reactions Markovnikov product is formed without any rearrangement. Okay, so I will quickly revisit the mechanism of this reaction. See, mechanisms are not important for JEE Advanced, because if you have concluded the reaction well, JEE Advanced never asks questions on mechanism. They will obviously ask the reactions and it will typically change some substitution in the molecule and you will be asked to guess the product. Okay, but mechanism helps us in the deeper understanding of the reaction. That is why we talk so much about mechanism. Else, if you are clear with the conclusion of the reaction, you can anyway solve the question. So what happens in this reaction is, first mercuric acetate breaks down and gives us ACO negative. AC is basically acyl group, so ACO negative means acetate ion, and we will get a electrophile. Now alkene basically attacks on this particular electrophile. So this is the alkene. So this attacks from its pi electron on the electrophilic center. So this goes and attack at this electrophilic center, and in this case we form a three-membered cyclic ring containing mercuric ion, right? So this is the intermediate that is formed in this particular reaction. Now we know that three-membered rings are highly strained. So these rings are highly strained. So the ring will try to open up. So it can either open up by pulling out the electron of this sigma bond, or it can withdraw the sigma electrons of this bond, okay, and it can open up. Now when this opens up from here, it is going to form a carbocation at this carbon, and if it opens up from here, it is going to form a carbocation from here. Now obviously the carbocation at this position is more stable as it has more number of alpha hydrogen. It is a 2-degree carbocation. Both the alkyl group would release electron and stabilize the carbocation. So the ring would open from this particular side only. Now as soon as this ring is open, at the same time water attacks. So at the same time water molecule would attack. So in this case water molecule would attack, and the reaction, and in this reaction complete carbocation is not formed. Because complete carbocation is not formed at this carbon, hence it is not undergoing any rearrangement. So water will come and attack at this positive center, the ring will open from here, and we will get this as the okay, I have written this wrong, this is HgOSC, and we will get this as the product. Now the first step, this step is known as oxymercuration. So this is known as oxymercuration because a mercury and oxygen is added, so that is why it is called as a oxymercuration. Now in the second step we have added NaBH4. NaBH4 is basically a hydride ion donor. BH4 basically contains BH4 negative, so it can provide a H negative. Now this H negative can go and attack at this carbon and it can displace the mercury. So that is why it is called as, this step is known as demercuration. So mercury is getting removed, hence it is known as demercuration. So in this case we are going to form this as the product. Now one important question that can be formed over here is, what is the net stereochemistry of this particular reaction? What is the net stereochemistry of this particular reaction? Now in this case, the last step, there have been many mechanisms that have been given to us. This is also a radical, this can also be a radical mechanism, it can be a normal substitution reaction. So this reaction is not stereochemically controlled. So in this case we cannot comment on the stereochemistry of the reaction. It indicates that we don't know whether H and OH are getting attached at this double bond from the same side or they are getting attached from the anti side. So there is no stereochemical conclusion. Okay, so here there is no stereochemical conclusion. So I hope this is clear to you. So in a oxymercuration demercuration reaction, we generally get a Markovnikov product without any rearrangement. But when we do acid catalyzed hydration, we started with the same molecule, but we got this as the major product or this as the final alcohol product. Okay, so I hope you have taken a snapshot of this. The third reaction is hydroboronation oxidation. So the third reaction is hydroboronation oxidation. This is basically anti-Markovnikov addition of water. So this is basically anti-Markovnikov addition of water. But this reaction is in this reaction there is a stereochemistry aspect involved. We say that H and OH are added in a syn fashion. So both H and OH are added in a syn fashion. So I will quickly go through the mechanism. So what happens in this reaction is, suppose we were having 2-methyl butanene. So we had taken BH3 along with THF. Why we have taken THF? Because boron is electron deficient, it is highly reactive. So THF basically coordinates with boron and keeps the boron stabilized, and so that the reaction can happen on it. Okay, so this was our starting material. Now because boron is having empty orbital and it is having pi electrons, so pi electrons attacks at the empty orbital of boron, and we are going to form this particular species. Okay, this is very short-lived species. So what happens over here is boron is attached to less sterically hindered carbon. So boron is attached to less sterically hindered carbon. So what is happening exactly? You can polarize this bond. Negative charge would be over here. Carbocation will be more stable over here. If you polarize like this, negative charge would be less stable over here. So this bond would polarize like this, and it would attack on boron, and boron would have negative charge on it, due to which a hydride ion will come out, and this will attack this particular carbocationic center. So in this case, we are going to form this particular species. Now you can see that both H and the boron have attached on the same side. Okay, H and boron have attached from the same side. So that is why we are saying that finally H and OH are also getting added in a syn fashion. So now once this has formed, you can see that there are still 2 hydrogen left with this particular boron. So another molecule of alkene would attack on this boron, and hydrogen would be transferred at this carbon. Similarly, one more hydrogen would be left. Okay, so this has 2 hydrogen. So another molecule of alkene can attack on this boron. So basically what is happening is, when this attacks on boron, it is donating one hydrogen to a carbon, and boron is getting attached to a less sterically hindered carbon. So again one molecule would attack, it will get attached to this boron, and hydrogen will be donated to this particular carbon. Now again one hydrogen would be left. So again one more alkene would attack on the boron till all the hydrogens of the boron is exhausted. So in that case we are going to form CH3, CH, CH3, CH2, CH2 whole thrice boron. So this is the first step, which is known as hydroboronation. Now in the second step there is an oxidation that would happen. So basically H2O2 would react with OH negative and form this hydroperoxide ion. I will write this as R3B, so that would be simpler to explain. So this will attack on this boron. Boron is having empty orbital, so it is going to form RBr OOH. Because boron has formed 4 bond, it will have a negative charge, due to which an alkyl group would come out. This will attack at this oxygen, and this OH will go out, and it is going to form RBr OR. Again hydroperoxide ion would go and attack at the boron. So it is going to form this. Boron will have a negative charge, so again a alkyl group would come out, it would attack on the oxygen, and OH would be expelled out. So it will again form B OR OR, and then there is a R group. Again same thing would happen, and we will form B OR OR OR. Now this will hydrolyze, and we will get H3BO3 plus 3 moles of alcohol. Okay. So the OH gets attached to the carbon, which is attached to the boron. So that is why we are getting a anti-Markovnikov product. Okay, so just remember this reaction. This is a very important reaction, and the addition of H and OH are happening in the syn fashion. That means H and OH are getting added on the double bond from the same plane, right? So there is a modification of this reaction. If you take any alkene and you add BH3 to it, in the presence of THF, and in second step, if you are not adding H2O2 and OH negative, rather you are adding any acid, say you are adding RCOD. So in the first step it would form R3B, and then D would go and form an alkane over here. So in this case we are going to form this alkane. Okay. So in the first step, similar to the same mechanism, it will form R3B. So it will form R3B, then D plus would attack on the carbon, and boron basically it would attack to the carbon on which boron is attached, and then boron would come out as H3BO3. So in this case you are going to form a alkane. So if you take an acetic acid, then there would be a incorporation of hydrogen on this molecule, and we will get an alkane. So these are the 3 basic mechanisms through which through which hydration of water takes place on a alkene. Okay, so I hope you will remember this reaction now. So just remember that only this reaction is controlled through stereochemistry. H and OH are added in the syn fashion. They are basically attached to the double bond from the same side. Okay. The next reaction is oxidation at allylic position. Now whenever you treat any double bond with selenium dioxide, so basically at the alpha position there is an introduction of OH. No mechanism required, just remember the reaction. So suppose you have taken propene, this is basically propene, and you are treating it with selenium dioxide in presence of water. So at alpha position OH would be attached. So whenever you treat a double bond compound with selenium dioxide, an OH group is introduced at the allylic position. So this is a very specific reaction. Whenever you see SeO2, there are only two SeO2 type of reaction. One is the reaction with carbonyl compound, other is the reaction with double bond. So when you are treating SeO2 with a alkene, then basically what happens is at alpha position or at the allylic position of the alkene, a OH group is introduced. Now let us come to the next segment. So the first revision that we did was from alkane, the second we did first from alkenes, third should be from alkynes. Now if you treat alkynes with water, if you carry out a hydration of alkynes, we generally form enol. Enol tautomerizes and gives us a ketone, aldehyde or a ketone. So we cannot prepare alcohol through hydration of alkynes. So that is why we have not covered alkynes over here. The fourth chapter that we do is alkyl halides. You can prepare alcohols from alkyl halides through a substitution reaction. It can be SN2 reaction. You can treat a 1 degree alkyl halide with NaOH. Aqueous NaOH is a strong nucleophile. It generally causes a SN2 reaction. So it will substitute Cl and it will form a alcohol. If you can also carry out a substitution reaction through SN1 mechanism. You have to take a 3 degree alkyl halide or any alkyl halide that is forming a stable carbocation and you react with a neutral nucleophile. So in that case living group will go out, carbocation would be formed. If there is a scope of carbocation rearrangement, there would be a carbocation rearrangement and then water would attack and form the alcohol. Okay, so I hope we don't need much of a discussion over here. Now look at the beauty. If you have done the reactions beforehand, then when you are reading the chapter, all those reactions will keep on appearing. So it is like doing a revision only. So the next reaction is from primary amine. So if you react any primary amine with Na-Na2HCl, obviously we take temperature close to 0 to 5 degrees Celsius, we form a alcohol. So this is a similar reaction to that of benzene disonium chloride. Now what happens over here is Na-Na2HCl combines together and form HNO2. So Na-NO2 and HCl would combine together and it will form HNO2 plus NaCl. Now once HNO2 is formed, it will get protonated and it will form nitrosonium ion. So once this nitrosonium ion is formed, amine will behave as a nucleophile and it would attack on the nitrosonium ion. So we are going to generate a 4 degree nitrogen. Now we know that positive charge on electronegative atom is unstable. So this H plus would come out and this would go and basically protonate the oxygen. So the mechanism is similar to what we have done in disonium salts. So we are going to form this. So one more hydrogen goes out and this pi electron polarizes on oxygen and we form a azo bond. N double bond is N is generally known as a azo bond. Now again, because we have taken acidic medium, so in acidic medium OH would be protonated and it will form OH2 plus, which is a good living group. So this nitrogen pushes its electron, water goes out and we form R N triple bond N plus. Okay, so this results into the formation of disonium salt. Now if R was benzene ring, so this N2 cannot depart easily, because if N2 departs, it is going to form a phenyl carbocation which was highly unstable. So if this R is any other alkyl group, not a benzene ring, then obviously N2 will go out. We know that N2 is the best living group among all the living groups available. When N2 goes out, obviously it forms a gas, it escapes the reaction mixture, entropy of the reaction increases. Also because N triple bond is highly inert, its bond is highly stable, the bond energy is very high. So when it goes out, it liberates a lot of energy, due to which the energy of the reaction mixture decreases and it gets stabilized. So N2 plus departs and we form a carbocation. So we will form a carbocation, and again water would attack on this carbocation and form a alcohol. Because a carbocation is formed over here, so there is again a scope of rearrangement. Now along with alcohol, there is some minor amount of alkene that is also formed, because we know that SN1 reaction competes with E1 reaction. So whenever there is a SN1 product, there will always be some minor amount of E1 product. So I hope you have understood this reaction. You can do such kind of reaction. We have already done some very good examples on this particular reaction. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. So the next preparation is through a reduction reaction. Now this is a very important segment, because this will come directly in aldehyde and ketone as well. So we are going to put a stress on reduction reaction right now, and few of the reaction mechanism we are going to discuss in aldehyde ketones, but our job is to remember all the reactions that we are doing right now, because that will help us in covering aldehydes and ketones as well. So we will prepare alcohols through reduction of carbonyl compounds. So we say that the conversion of carbonyl compound into alcohols is a reduction reaction. So in general, you take any aldehyde or ketone, you just carry out a reduction. Reduction means addition of hydrogen. So when you add a hydrogen over here, this gets converted into OH. You add a hydrogen over here, it gets converted into a saturated compound and we get a alcohol. So we can do a reduction of a aldehyde or a ketone and we can get a alcohol. Now there are many ways of doing the reduction. Reduction can either be done directly by adding hydrogen in presence of metals like palladium, platinum or nickel. We can also carry out hydrogenation through lithium ammonia, or we can use some hydride donor reducing agents like NaBH4, lithium aluminum hydride, BH3, dibyl H, aluminum isopropoxide. So in today's lecture we are going to discuss all these particular reducing agents. We will skip some mechanism, we will skip some detail which we will obviously cover in aldehyde ketones. Okay, so the first reaction is the catalytic hydrogenation. We generally carry out catalytic hydrogenation in presence of hydrogen and a metal. So suppose you are having any aldehyde or ketone and you are treating it with hydrogen in presence of palladium, platinum or nickel. So this double bond O would get hydrogenated and will form a alcohol. Okay, so you can take any aldehyde, you add hydrogen, palladium, and along with palladium we take some amount of carbon to poison the mixture so that the reactivity decreases and it is able to reduce this particular group properly. And the second step, we are adding MEOH, so this carbon will basically be reduced and will convert into a 1 degree alcohol. Similarly, if you take a ketone and you add hydrogen palladium or hydrogen palladium carbon, in the second step you add alcohol, this is basically the solvent that will dissolve everything. So don't worry about the methanol that is written over here. So this will basically reduce the ketone into a 2 degree alcohol. Now what happens is, generally hydrogen metal is a very strong reducing agent. So hydrogen along with the metal is a strong reducing agent. It almost reduces all the different type of functional group. Okay, it reduces, I hope you know this, it reduces all functional group. Only functional groups that reacts slowly with hydrogen metal are carboxylic acid and ester. So carboxylic acid and ester reacts slowly with very slowly with hydrogen and metal. So we generally say that we don't carry metal catalyzed reduction of carboxylic acid and ester because these reactions are very slow, and at JE level we will consider that hydrogen platinum or hydrogen metal will not reduce COH and will not reduce ester, otherwise it reduces all the other functional group. The common example is if you take any double bond. So double bond can easily be reduced through a hydrogen metal and will form a alkane, right. So just remember this point, hydrogen metal is a very strong reducing agent, it reduces almost every kind of functional group. But if you talk about carboxylic acid and ester, carboxylic acid and ester reacts very slowly. Okay. So why we are taking carbon over here? Now if this alkyl group is having a double bond, we know that double bonds are highly reactive towards hydrogen metal. Hydrogen metal basically quickly hydrogenates the double bond and forms a alkane. Okay. So when you are taking hydrogen, palladium and carbon together, so what will happen over here is, this is the perfect example. You can see that there is a ketone group, there is a double bond as well. So if you add hydrogen, palladium and carbon, we know that double bonds are more reactive than C double bond O towards hydrogen metal. So what would happen over here? This double bond would get reduced preferentially and C double bond O would remain. Okay. So in this case, this particular group won't be reduced. So if there is a presence of double bond along with a double bond O along with a carbonyl compound, then double bonds are preferably reduced. But if you react this with hydrogen and platinum or palladium, in this case both the groups would be reduced. So basically what carbon does is, it poisons the catalytic activity of palladium, due to which its reactivity decreases, due to which it is able to reduce only those groups which can be easily reduced. In this case C double bond C can be easily reduced, its rate of reduction is higher than that of rate of reduction of C double bond O, due to which only C double bond C gets reduced. Okay, we can take hydrogen PtO2 also. I hope you remember this. Hydrogen PtO2 is known as Adams catalyst, and this is basically used for hydrogenation of alkenes. So if you take any alkene and you add hydrogen PtO2 Adams catalyst, you will form a alkene. Again, you can see that in this particular molecule there is a double bond and a carboxylic acid. Now the reactivity of hydrogen platinum or a hydrogen metal with carboxylic acid is very slow. We generally say that carboxylic acid reacts very slowly, or at normal conditions we consider them as inert. So we generally tend to hydrogenate double bond only, and we will not hydrogenate COH. So whenever COH and esters are present, they are not reduced by hydrogen metal, so only double bond would be reduced in this case. Now we can carry out reduction through we can carry out reduction by hydride transfer reagents as well. So there are few common hydride transfer reagents that we are going to study today. The first one is sodium boron hydride, abbreviated as SBH. The second one is lithium aluminum hydride, abbreviated as LAH. The third one is diisobutyl aluminum hydride, which is known as DIBAL-H. The next one is borane, BH3 or diborane, B2H6. The next one is aluminum isopropoxide. Okay. So let us just first discuss all these reagents. We will skip few, we will cover them in aldehyde and ketone, but we will definitely do sodium boron hydride and lithium aluminum hydride. So let us talk about sodium boron hydride or SBH. Now we know that in a sodium boron hydride there would be ionic bond between Na plus and BH4 negative. So if you consider BH4 negative, so this is the structure of BH4 negative. Now you can see that boron is having a negative charge. So a hydride ion can come easily out of this, and it can go and reduce a carbonyl group. So that is why it is known as a hydride reducing agent, hydride donor reducing agent. So suppose we take any double bond O, we take a aldehyde or a ketone. So if you take a aldehyde or a ketone and you react it with NaBH4, so H negative would come and this would attack at this carbonyl carbon, because you can see that there is some positive charge at the carbonyl carbon, as oxygen is more electronegative, so it will withdraw the pi electron density. So this H negative would go and attack at this carbon, pi electron would get polarized and will form O negative. In the second step we are doing a hydrolysis either through water, ETOH or any alcohol. So we are going to form a alcohol in this case. So let us quickly understand the mechanism of this reaction. So what happens in this reaction is BH4 negative, you can see that oxygen is having some negative charge and carbonyl carbon is having positive charge. So this H negative would go and attack at this carbonyl carbon, pi electrons would be polarized on oxygen, and we are going to form a alkoxide ion which can be hydrolyzed through a alcohol or a water, because O negative is basic, so it will abstract a hydrogen quickly from either water or alcohol and it will get protonated to form a alcohol. So this is one basic mechanism that is given, and this is the more plausible, or this is a better explained mechanism. So what happens in this particular mechanism is, as soon as you form this, okay, So as soon as you form this alkoxide ion, so BH3 would come out from over here. So as H negative is departing, BH3 is left. So as soon as alkoxide ion is formed, this O negative would go and attack at the boron, because this boron is electron deficient. So this O negative would go and attack at this boron. So this O negative goes and attacks at this boron. Boron develops a negative charge, due to which it can release one more hydride ion. So it releases one hydride ion which goes and attacks at other aldehyde molecule or any other ketone that is that we have taken initially. So once this is formed, it deprotonates, hydride comes out and it attacks at other aldehyde molecule. We form alkoxide ion again. Now once this alkoxide ion is formed, it will go back and attack at this boron, as boron is electron deficient. So we are going to form B. There are 2 H attached to it and there is basically 2 alkoxide ions. So I am just writing this as complete group as R group. Okay. Now again boron will have a negative charge because it has formed 4 bonds. So it will again provide a hydride ion. So this hydride ion goes and attack at other aldehyde or a ketone molecule, and again in this case you are going to form. So again I am going to write this complete as an alkoxide ion. So RO negative would be formed. This RO negative would attack back at boron because boron is electron deficient. It will form this. Again there would be a hydride ion that would be coming out from it. This would attack on an aldehyde and it will form an alkoxide ion. The O negative will go and attack at boron and we are going to form this particular molecule. So there are 4 OR groups that are incorporated. This will undergo hydrolysis and will form alcohol. So in this case, since sodium boron hydride is having 4H attached to boron, all of this can come out as hydride ion. So this is going to reduce basically 4 mole of aldehyde or ketone. So this will provide 4H negative and it can 1 mole of NaBH4 can provide 4H negative and they can reduce 4 aldehydes or ketone. So 1 molecule of NaBH4 will reduce 4 molecules of aldehydes or ketones. Now if we talk about lithium aluminum hydride, similar is the mechanism. So in a lithium aluminum hydride, the H negative would come out. Now if you have taken a small amount of moisture in the mixture, so this hydride ion being a powerful base will quickly react with water. It will abstract the hydrogen and it will form a hydrogen gas, and this reaction is highly exothermic. So that is why we say that lithium aluminum hydride reactivity is very high. It reacts very quickly and the reaction is very violent. So SBH is a preferred reducing agent. Now when you take a aldehyde or a ketone and you add LAH to it, LAH means lithium aluminum hydride, it provides H negative. So this bond would get polarized. So once this molecule has been completely attacked by hydride ion, then in the second step we are going to do the hydrolysis and O negative would be protonated to form a alcohol. Now one question that should be coming in your mind is, sir, out of NaBH4 and LiAlH4, which of them is a stronger reducing agent? The stronger reducing agent will be the one which can provide hydride ion faster, They can easily reduce the molecule, and that would be a better or a stronger reducing agent. Okay, they would be a stronger reducing agent. Better is a wrong word because SBH is a better reducing agent. Now if you look at boron and hydrogen, so hydrogen has 1s orbital, boron is having 2p orbital, aluminum is having 1s orbital, aluminum is having 3p orbital. So this BH bond is formed by the overlap of 1s orbital of boron and say basically it is a hybridized orbital only, sp3 hybridized orbital of boron, and in this case the aluminum sp3 hybridized orbital has overlapped with hydrogen. But because aluminum hybrid orbital has been formed by the third shell orbitals which are larger in size, so the orbitals of aluminum will be larger because aluminum is the third paired element, boron is the second paired element. So aluminum orbitals are larger orbitals overlap less effectively, due to which this ALH bond would be weaker than this BH bond. So because ALH bond is weaker than BH bond, why it is weaker? ALH bond, we know that aluminum is having the electrons in the third shell. So this is third, or the third shell orbital is overlapping with hydrogen, second shell orbital is overlapping with hydrogen. So obviously this overlap is better, this overlap is weak. Because this bond is weak, so it can easily provide hydride ion. So that is why we say that lithium aluminum hydride is a powerful reducing agent as compared to SBH, sodium boron hydride. But we know that lithium aluminum hydride, sodium boron hydride is a better reducing agent. Why it is so? Because if you consider lithium aluminum hydride, because lithium is more electropositive, due to which aluminum is having high negative charge, hydride ion come out, it can react with water and evolve hydrogen gas. So the reaction of lithium aluminum hydride is generally vigorous, due to which they are not preferred in the laboratory. So sodium boron hydride is a preferred reducing agent, even though lithium aluminum hydride is a stronger reducing agent. Okay. So I hope you have understood this. So if you look at the mechanism, similar is the mechanism as compared to sodium boron hydride. So aluminum hydride ion, its negative would come and attack at the carbonyl carbon, pi electron would be polarized. So this hydrogen gets attached to the carbonyl carbon, O negative will attack on aluminum and it will form this. Now this process will keep on repeating till all the hydrogens of aluminum are exhausted. So hydride ion would come and attack at this carbon, forming alkoxide ion, which will attack on aluminum and will form this particular species. Then again a hydride ion would come and attack at this particular carbon, pi electron would be polarized and there will be 3 alkoxide incorporated. Then again a hydride would come from this particular species and it will attack at the carbonyl carbon, alkoxide ion would be formed and it will attack an aluminum. So basically 4 alkoxide ions are incorporated with aluminum, and when we carry out hydrolysis it will form a alcohol. So it forms a alcohol. So again 1 mole of lithium aluminum hydride can reduce 4 aldehydes or ketone into alcohol, since it can provide 4 H negative ions. Okay. Now one thing that you should remember over here is, quickly I will make you just will make a chart. You have to just remember it for the time being. We'll cover it in the aldehyde ketone chapter. So when you are having a aldehyde and you treat it and you want to reduce it into a alcohol. Similarly, you are having a ketone and you want to reduce it into a alcohol. So in this case, lithium aluminum hydride can be used. In the second case, lithium aluminum hydride can be used. Sodium boron hydride can also be used. So whenever you take a lithium aluminum hydride, along with lithium aluminum hydride, we generally take ether, or we maintain a dry condition so that hydride ion does not combine with H plus and form hydrogen gas. So lithium aluminum hydride is always taken with THF, and the second step you carry out a hydrolysis either by water or alcohol. In NaBH4, NaBH4 is less violent, so you take NaBH4 and the second step you add alcohol. So if we want to reduce, say, acyl chloride, acyl chloride would be reduced into alcohols only. So what would happen in this case is, acyl chloride would be first attacked by a hydride ion. These electrons would be polarized and we will form this particular species. This O negative will push the electron and Cl would come out and we will form a aldehyde in this case. So in the first step, when the hydride attacks an aldehyde is formed. Since an aldehyde is formed, it can be again attacked by a hydride ion and will form a alcohol. Okay. So acyl chloride can be reduced into alcohol. We can take both LAH as well as SBH. Now when we talk about ester, so when you attack a hydride ion on ester, so H negative will attack O negative, the pi electron would be polarized on oxygen, giving it a O negative. O negative will push the electron, OR will get expelled, we will form a aldehyde again, which will get reduced into a alcohol. So we will get this particular product. So just you have to break this bond. You can try the same mechanism and you will get that particular product. Now LAH is able to do this particular transformation, but SBH does not reduce ester. Similarly, if you take amides, amides are typically reduced into amines. So they are not reduced into alcohols. So they are reduced into amines. So just you have to change the C double bond O into CH2. lithium aluminum hydride is able to reduce amides into amines, but SBH is not. Similarly, if you take a cyanide, cyanides are basically reduced into RCH2NH2. Again, you can understand the mechanism. H negative will attack at this carbon, pi electrons are polarized over here, so it will form RCH double bond NH. Then again H negative will attack at this carbon, this pi electron would be polarized and it will form RCH2NH2. So LAH is able to reduce cyanides into amines, but SBH is not. Similarly, if we take a carboxylic acid, so if we take a carboxylic acids are reduced into alcohols. So this carbon is reduced into an alcohols. This reduction can be done through a LAH, but again SBH will not reduce this. Okay. If you talk about C double bond C, we'll say that both lithium aluminum hydride and SBH or sodium boron hydride does not reduce C double bond C. C double bond C can be typically reduced through a hydrogen metal. So we'll say that C double bond C is not reduced by lithium aluminum hydride as well as sodium boron hydride. So you need to remember this. Rest of the data, rest of the chart we'll cover in aldehyde ketones. So don't worry about that. If you consider hydrogen metal generally reduces all. So hydrogen metal basically reduces all, it reduces all. But the only point of differentiation is the reaction of ester is very slow, and even carboxylic acids are very slowly reduced through hydrogen metal. So these two reactions we generally consider as inert. So just remember this, lithium aluminum hydride reduces every functional group except C double bond C. SBH reduces only aldehydes, ketones and acyl chloride. It does not reduce ester, amide, cyanide, carboxylic acid or even nitro group. Okay. So just look at this reaction now. So we are having a particular molecule and this is basically a question of reduction. So we are having a aldehyde and we are having a double bond. LAH we know does not reduces the double bond, so it will reduce CHO and it will change it into a alcohol CH2OH. Similarly, if we take this particular example, so in this case there is a C double bond O ketone as well as a double bond. So when you react with NaBH4 and in the second step you add MEOH, so we know that double bond won't be reduced through NaBH4, so only C double bond O is reduced and we get this particular alcohol. Similarly, when you take LAH and in second step you are adding water, so in that case also only C double bond O will be reduced and double bond C double bond C won't be reduced. Now when you are taking hydrogen, palladium, platinum or nickel, so in this case both the groups would be reduced. Okay, both the groups are reduced by hydrogen metal, but when you take hydrogen, palladium along with carbon, so only double bond is reduced. Now let us look at this reaction. So again we are treating this molecule with LAH. So in this case there is a COH groups, amines are not affected by lithium aluminum hydride, so COH would change into CH2OH because reaction is happening at this particular carbon, so stereochemistry of this carbon would be retained. So COH will be basically reduced into a alcohol. Now if you react this particular molecule with lithium aluminum hydride, so in this case we are having a ketone as well as a ester. We know that lithium aluminum hydride reduces both ester and ketone or aldehydes, so this will be reduced into alcohol. So this carbon would also be reduced into a alcohol, and along with this ethanol ETOH will be formed. Now the next question comes is, can double bond C double bond C be reduced at all by lithium aluminum hydride? The answer is yes. Now whenever you are having a beta aryl alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, then in those cases C double bond C is also reduced by lithium aluminum hydride. So let me take an example. So this is the particular molecule. So what I am saying is, suppose we are having an aldehyde or a ketone and we are having a skeleton something like this. So whenever the C double bond C is in conjugation with C double bond O carbonyl group, whenever C double bond C is in conjugation with carbonyl group and it is also in conjugation with the benzene ring, then in those cases C double bond C would be reduced by lithium aluminum hydride, but not through sodium boron hydride. So we'll say that this is the main functional group, this is alpha, this is beta. So this is basically alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde or ketone. So this is alpha beta unsaturation, and at beta carbon we have attached a benzene or a allyl ring. So that is what we have written. There is a beta aryl alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. So whenever you are having alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound along with aryl group at the beta position, then lithium aluminum hydride will reduce double bond as well. So in this case double bond is also reduced into alkane and aldehyde will obviously be reduced. Now if you react with sodium boron hydride, sodium boron hydride will not reduce the C double bond C. Even when it is in conjugation with both carbonyl as well as benzene ring, this will not reduce the double bond. Okay, so just remember this point, lithium aluminum hydride can reduce double bond when the double bond is in conjugation with carbonyl group as well as the benzene ring, or we are having a beta aryl alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, but sodium boron hydride will not reduce. Now sodium boron hydride can reduce double bond when the double bond is in conjugation with C double bond O in a cyclic ring. So whenever C double bond C is in conjugation with C double bond O in cyclic rings, then NaBH4 can reduce double bond as well. So in this case NaBH4 will reduce this double bond and it will also reduce this C double bond O, forming this particular product. Okay, so these are the few preparation of alcohol. So I hope you might have written all the reactions. Just try to memorize them, because this chapter deals with reagent portion. You need to know the action of the reagent. In the previous lessons we were understanding the mechanism aspect. Now in these upcoming chapters we will be talking a lot about reagents, so you should know the action of reagents. That will help you in a better understanding. Okay, so just go through these preparation, just memorize them. There are few mechanisms that I have left intentionally because I wanted to cover in aldehydes and ketones, and this actually will help us a lot in understanding these reactions in aldehydes and ketone. Okay, so this is it for today. So I hope you have understood today's lecture. So just go through all the reactions that we have done, just make a clear cut conclusion. I am going to cover the detailed reduction reactions in the aldehyde ketone chapter, so don't worry about this. So just memorize the reaction right now. We will cover it in a chart when we do aldehydes and ketone. So this is it for today. So this is Animesh signing off for now. We will catch in the next lecture with some more fun with organic chemistry. Thank you, students.